I'm Artistic Gamer 7 and welcome back to another video here on the channel. This is a creative sim for my fairy slash pixie sim cult discussions. So like I did for the zombie one, I did actually end up making some sims for the thumbnail for the fairies and pixies little discussion video. So this is the creative sim for them now. So I did make one that was leaning more towards pixie and one more towards fairy. Now, if fairies are brought into sims, I don't know if there will be a huge distinction between fairies and pixies, so it may be more of like your own making it distinct. But I did give her like some like features and things like that because this is the pixie first. I still give her some features that are similar to the fairy one, but a little bit different at the same time. I didn't give her wings. That was the big thing, because pixies technically can fly, but they don't have wings versus fairies do. That is like from what I was reading, and like I said in the video, that was the biggest distinction between them that you could see. And also the type of mischief that fairies and pixies sort of do. Fairies is more lighthearted, while pixies, I think, could actually sometimes get a little on the iffy side. But anyway, so this is the pixie, and I just basically was trying to make cutesy but also magical sort of looking creature. I liked that I found these ears. I gave the pixie a slightly bigger ear, and these have little like stars hanging off of them, which is like honestly really adorable. As far as the hair, I think the hair was like the most undecided thing I had for both. Honestly, because going in, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do for either one of them. I ultimately actually do end up doing this hair that you should be seeing now. I think I might go back and try a few different ones. I don't remember for sure. But I actually sort of liked how it looked, and it was more purple. I did the fairy more pink and the pixie more purple. Now, obviously, if fairies do come to The Sims, the color scheme that they have is more depending on you, so it's not like I'm saying pixies have to be like the darker colors and the fairies have to be the lighter colors. It just so happened how it turned out. I really wanted to do purple on her, and I just had fun with the makeup and things like that. I feel like out of all the Sims discussion ones, fairies that are left, anyway, that haven't been done, because I actually made a witches one before I knew the witches were coming, and, well, spellcasters. It was literally right before, I think, as I was editing the video, the announcement had been made, and so werewolves and fairies are probably the highest one on the list out of all the cults that I have prepared for this discussions, so I feel like they're gonna have the highest chance out of all of them. But I also feel like with the fairies, they're probably, you know, most self-explanatory in some ways. So I was just having fun with this and making them try to look magical and things like that. I actually had this outfit that I had in mind for the fairy. That is one of the things that I knew, like, as I was like trying to fix the pixie up, I remembered I had a particular outfit, and I was like, I'm definitely putting that on the fairy. And the outfit I ended up putting on the pixie, the top that I use actually has a matching bottom, but I for some reason thought I didn't have the matching bottom, so I don't end up giving her the matching bottom, which would have had a more magical feel to it compared to what I did choose. But I also sort of wanted the pixie to have shorts instead of a skirt anyway, and the bottom for this technically was a skirt. I just the overall like theme and like vision in my head, I was like, I would rather the pixie have shorts of some kind, but trying to figure out what to put, like what to actually put on her, was a little bit of a struggle at first. I also even thought about, which you'll probably see me try, some of the like more underwear type bottoms, and I was gonna like try to put like the wraps and stuff. I have some accessory wraps that are sort of see-through and stuff like that. I also was considering trying them over top of the underwear style. So I do actually like sort of experiment with that, but ultimately I do go with the shorts that she currently actually has on, instead of worrying about the other, like putting the underwear with a wrap or whatever. Just because in the end I sort of liked the look better, and plus a lot of these wraps that I have didn't come in colors that I necessarily would want to. use for her, because I did think the black bottom looked the best with that top. Even though the top has more colors than black, it has like dark blues, it has purples, has like that greenish yellow going on, it also has a regular green, but I felt black overall looked better with it. But you know, black is one of my favorite clothing colors, so that also may just be a bias speaking in my head. Black goes with everything, put it on her. But I did also decide to give her tattoos, but I wasn't thinking of them in the sense of tattoos. I was thinking more of them in the sense of maybe like a magic design that just appears on them or something along those lines. So, and I did that with the fairy as well, which you should be seeing me starting to make her now. So I did sort of give them like those like tattoos sort of going on, but I didn't, again, not necessarily thinking of them as tattoos, more of like a magical mark or magic flowing through them. Something along that lines versus a tattoo. I mean, you could also go with the route that they are tattoos in a way, but a different form of tattoos that fairies and pixies do or something. So they're not your typical like colored tattoos, because a lot of tattoos tend to be mainly black, or if they use colors, there's usually a lot of darker colors. Like they have a look to them, and the way that the colors that these come in with those whites and things like that is colors that you don't see that bright usually on actual skin, because tattoos usually they don't look as bright colored when it comes to like white and things like that. So, you know, it doesn't look as much like a tattoo anyway. But anyway, we are now here on the fairy, and like I said, sort of just going with it, trying to make her look magical. I didn't have like a strong reasoning behind them as like the zombies, trying to show off two different looks. I mean, yeah, I'm technically showing off a pixie and a fairy, but for the most part, a lot of people know pixies and fairies, a general description. So I was just trying to make them look pretty and magical and sort of cutesy at the same time, and just sort of having fun with it, because I like fairies, and I want them in the game. Honestly, I want all these occults in the game. I'm just talking about the Sims 4 occult discussions just makes me actually want them in the game. And the fact that if you actually watch the Sims 4 occult discussions, fairies, I start bringing, I think I mentioned it in the fairies one, or I mentioned it in the one that's coming up next. But I think I started to mention it in the fairies one. I've sort of got this idea of a fantasy pack that brings in, like, more than one occult, but also this very fantasy magical world that's sort of sealed off somewhere. But it's now sort of opened, and now your regular Sims can sort of go there and things like that. And I just love the idea of this fantasy pack. Like, that's, like, the biggest thing that is in my head. I'm like, I wish it would happen so badly, but honestly, I partially don't think it's going to, because I get an overall feeling that occults are not as a popular thing as I wish they were. I do know that I have a lot of people that have told me that they actually really like the occults, and that even if they don't play with them as much, they like the option being there. But at the same time, I feel like there is a bigger presence that doesn't really care for the occults as much, because they go for more of a realism. But I like realism mixed with fantasy myself. And I think for a game that sort of has these little silly things thrown in it, just makes sense. So, I like them. But yeah, so one can dream that these eventually become a real thing. But talking about my Sims 4 occult discussions, I should probably mention this towards the beginning. If you have not seen my series of Sims 4 occult discussion, there is a playlist down below. I will say you could probably skip the first one because it was about witches, which we got the spellcasters, and I actually started the series before my long break. So the recording for witches and werewolves and zombies were actually recorded a while ago, but all the ones after fairies is very recently done. I've already recorded the next discussions. It's in the editing process now, as you're seeing this create a sim. But anyway, so yeah, you could go check that out. It will be down in the description below, and I will specifically pick out the fairies one and put it separate, so if you just missed the fairies one, you could go see that there. But anyway, so yeah, this is my little cutesy fairy here. I gave her, I was like, this, she must have this little rosy flowery outfit. And I did, like, originally, like I said, I didn't actually have a theme going in. I did go with pink, obviously, with her. But I originally wasn't going in with pink. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do, but I had all these wings that I downloaded the pic from, and honestly, I went with the ones that I didn't think I was gonna go with, but I thought it looked the best with the sort of feel I was going for her. Anyway, so that's what I ended up giving her. But anyway, you should be seeing the screenshots now. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed seeing the making of my pixie and fairy. I really liked how they turned out. They do have a magical feel, even though I didn't have for sure directions going into it, but I did have fun. I liked playing with the pixie's makeup. I will say I had fun with her makeup. But yeah, anyway, I hope you liked them and how they turned out. If so, please hit that lovely like button and make sure you subscribe to see future creative Sims of possible occults and also my Sims 4 occults discussions, as well as other things here on the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!